Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Get Energized podcast. This show where leaders are dropped into the hot seat, open about high-stake wins, and reveal the trust behind the triumphs. I'm your host, Scott Carley, the Trust Energizer, and I believe the confidence people have in your character and your expertise is a real game changer. When trust is strong, teams and individuals don't just perform, they pull off the impossible. Today, our guest is Sandra Tru from Colombia, who grew up in New York. She has seen firsthand what it takes to build an internal high trust culture that delivers big. Sandra, welcome to the show.
God, I'm so excited to be joining you on this. It's been so beautiful to see the birth of the Trust Credit Score. And I'm so excited to just learn more about this beautiful work that you're putting out into the world.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you today. So tell our audience what you do and who you serve.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Yeah, so I am soul purpose mentor. I work with leaders, especially women most of the time, who've achieved a lot, but also feel quietly unfulfilled. So I help people reconnect to their soul, their nervous system, their voice, so that they can stop performing and start living a life that's true to them and that's joyfully theirs. So that's what I'm excited about. I have a system that's very multidimensional, and it works through unconscious programming, at the same time connecting to the true vision that is emerging, and behavioral neurolinguistic programming. It's called Soulset. And we do this beautiful work of really connecting to the spirituality while at the same time working on grounded strategy to support people in helping themselves and connect and live with more purpose and experience joy at a greater level.
Yeah, Sandra, you're just really incredible at what you do. And just so that you and the audience know, Sandra was my coach, and she was able to help me work through some real hairballs in my life. And if you've read my book, Can I Trust You? She is one of the key people who helped me to go back and look at the things where trust had been broken, that I had broken trust in my life. And she helped me to be able to glue the pieces back together and repair that trust in myself, not just in other people. Because until you can learn to raise your own trust credit score, you're going to have a really hard time being the successful person you want to be. And this is a lady who had a huge part in that. So, yeah, I'm biased by experience, and I don't apologize for that at all. So, just to kind of start off, if you want to, Sandra, what is one of the wildest high stakes challenges that you've ever faced in working with somebody where failure would have been a total disaster or it would have just been incredibly great? Can you think of something like that?
I think that failure is one of those, whatever we call failure, quote unquote, it tends to be, in the way that I see it, an angel in disguise. I truly believe that when we start to align ourselves with the truth, we allow ourselves to look at the possibility of our experience and expectation being more than what we might have judged it. And so if they're thinking of failure as something not working, it could also be some other door opening or something closing that wasn't in alignment with the greatest truth. And if we're thinking about expectation, it's essentially what's creating our reality. So what I see a lot of people do, and I've caught this in my own life often, is that we are unconsciously expecting something bad to happen in the future because it happened to us in the past. So, I mean, I work with so many people, with speakers, with coaches, with writers, with real estate entrepreneurs. And that has been a big one. Like really seeing how in high stakes situations where there's a lot of money on the line, where there is situations where people are coming into the I feel like a fraud, or I feel not good enough. And I'm walking into these rooms and I have my message and I have everything, and I am extremely skilled at what I do. I'm great at what I do. I have this confidence on myself, but then there's the expectation of it's not going to work. It's not going to work because at some point it didn't work in the past. And so many people are just doing things. I'm doing the things, I'm doing what's necessary, I'm pushing to life, I'm moving with the pressure. I am moving into performance, but not really looking at the big underlying necessity that their soul is asking for, which is to integrate the parts of themselves that did not gain maturity, the parts that where they were not given what they needed, right? Our wounding, our trauma, because in high stakes situations where our nervous system is asking to be regulated and we don't have that practice, that's where the kinks of the host start to show. When we are really elevating, especially we're moved besides, past comfort zone, past threshold, I am getting to that new level. And then that's where imposter syndrome's not good enough. I'm a failure. It's not going to work. All these things that we are not looking as KPIs or key performance, right? But they are actually the main thing, I believe, for leaders to prioritize. Because at the end
definitely.
of the day,
And I'm glad you brought up the imposter syndrome and put a name on it. Because it's there, and sometimes, well, I don't know that I deal with that. Well, we do deal with that, and of course, I remember that's part of what you did with me. You took me down to that place where you dealt with that imposter syndrome and the trust score and the trust that I began to have in myself again. So I want to ask you some questions. I'm just going to take you through a series of questions, and when I do this, I think of just like the title of my book, Can I Trust You? I'm thinking when somebody comes to Sandra and they want to embrace her and use her to help me with my inner thinking. So there's just some questions that I ask. And so the first one is, can I trust Sandra to hold space for me, the real me, without judgment?
I think that you probably would not go forth in a conversation, and I really recommend that you don't go into working with anyone who you do not feel that in your body, that you can, no matter if the person has all the degrees and all the accomplishments, but whoever you get in front of, whoever you are being vulnerable with, they could wear the uniform or if you're not feeling in your body that there is calm, I think that is a really important sign of I can trust this person. When you're in the presence of any guide, mentor, person that you're growing with, partnership, if there's no calm, that's your nervous system saying this is not a safe space. So that if that's not there, whether it's with me, whether it's with anyone else, you are the sovereign leader of your life. And if you feel guarded, good. Probably not to open up in any place where you're not feeling calm in your system. And I hear that a lot working with clients, that there's a level of calmness that moves through them in doing this work. And I'm not a cuddly mentor, and you know this, Scott, right? I'm not here to cuddle anyone or to be mean to anyone, right? I'm here as an equal. And we create a transformation field where the truth of what wants to emerge from you arises. And of course, container is everything. Safety is everything. Privacy is everything. And at the same time, there must also be the invitation that with whoever, that whether it's a doctor, an officer, anyone, that you don't feel in your body that you can open up and trust this person, your body might be, I really believe the body carries some wisdom that we need to listen to, not just our mind.
I love that. And that's why I asked that question specifically. I mean, I trusted you, but after our first session, it was like, this is somebody I don't have to worry about. They're not going to judge me. They know I'm flawed. They know I have problems and been overwhelmed about stuff, but I don't have to worry about them judging me. They're here to help me, to lift me up, not push me down. So I think that you're right. That is super, super crucial. So question number 2.
Go for it.
Will Sandra truly see me beneath all that I'm carrying for other people, and all the weight that I'm carrying for other people. Will she see beneath that and see me and my roles and help me where I'm at?
Oh my goodness. That might be my gifts. That might be one of my gifts. And it is the gift that you get to develop in working with someone, with me, and especially doing the Soulset system, which allows us to understand ourselves as not in an intellectual, conceptual way, that we are God informed. Not that I'm God and you're not, but that God is in everything. And we are informed, being its messengers. And when we start to really allow us that the importance and the responsibility of that we're in equalness, we're in safety, we're not here to fix, we're here to create the conditions of our life that allow the natural emergence of our truth, that there is a truth that is potent, that is unique, that it has a unique story and unique mission that wants to move through us. And if we give ourselves the right amount of nourishment in every area of our life, there is no way that will not emerge, because the seed, the information of the seed in us is there. When cultivated, it's impossible that it won't grow, because that's what nature is. That's what consciousness is. It grows and it expands, and we are no different than that. We are that.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you phrase that, and the way you're creating a mindset. I like that. I call them mentors. Yeah, that's right. All right. So here's a third one, and this is kind of interesting too. Is Sandra someone who honors my timing and inner wisdom, not just pushes her own agenda? Like, for instance, when you come in, it's not that you've got, okay, we got a checkbox, but instead of just having your agenda, you're looking at me and what's going on in my world. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. And by the way, I am as human as any person that comes to work with me. So I do have an agenda. My little mind says, I want to teach this person about X, and I'm going to teach them all the things that I know. But in my work, what we honor is presence. And you might think, today I'm going to speak to Sandra about this. But when you sit in the space with me, we allow presence to be the guide. So our little mind takes the back seat, and your mind, whoever person is in front of me, and we allow the intelligence of the heart to be open, to reveal to us what needs to be witnessed, seen, processed. And I truly believe that the wisdom of the heart is the highest guidance that we can access at any point in time. Our heart is the Wi-Fi to our soul. And so we might have an agenda. We all have an agenda at some point, right? That really becomes secondary for this work.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. That's really cool. One of the things I do notice is that whenever, you and I go into a session or something, and, put your feet on the ground and close your eyes, and you really take me out of wherever I am right now, and, bring us in almost to a different container. And so in some ways, some of that stuff, it doesn't go away, but you just have that skill set and that ability to just bring people into a focus, and let's clear our minds, take deep breaths and all of that. It's great. It's great. And then it's almost like we're dealing with the issues sort of from the outside or something. I'm not sure I'm sure you have a better way of putting it than I do, but I'm just telling you what my experience was. So is there anything else you want to say about that before I go to the next question?
Yeah, it's not, I would say more than from the outside, although it feels like we take the 30-foot view of it, right? It's so
yeah.
We elevate, because what we're doing is that we're rising in frequency. And when we rise in frequency, we move from victimhood. This is happening to, I'm struggling with this. This is, why is this happening to me again? But we regulate the nervous system so much that we start to see it as a possibility. And I really believe that that's when the quantum reprogramming starts to allow itself to happen. So even though we're rising in frequency because we're moving from victimhood to freedom, we are also looking at it, although it feels like from above, it's actually from deep in the inside, from where I can see the whole picture at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. I love that. I love the way you do all that. That is helpful. Okay. The next question number 4, I think. Can Sandra walk with me through the fog of disconnection and into clarity without needing me to have all the answers up front?
Yeah. The truth is that I don't have the answers up front. I'm not interested in the answers being up front or fixing or solving even. I'm interested in truth. And I honor truth above all things, and I serve the truth. I'm in service to the truth. And the truth is not something that that I can point out or say, this is the fact and this is right and this is wrong. The truth is there's personal truth. This is my experience of how I see life. And then there is truth. There is another word for truth might be there's expansion, there is joy, there is a sense of my body, your nervous system tapping into it and knowing, wow, that's it. And it arises from complete understanding, from really doing the involution work of allowing it to be felt through you so that your own wisdom is what's bringing in this information from the supraconscious, from the higher levels of your consciousness, for us to have new material to align in your whole body, field, and actions. So it doesn't stay as like, spiritual stuff out there, but we ground it in actable ways that you can start to change, create new habits, or how I call them, healthy addictions for your life that really speak that new level of truth that you are tapping into and feeling deep within every core of your body as I align with this truth. And so I never know what's going to happen, right? In this session, it's like I am as in awe of the evolution and the emergence work that happens in these sessions. I feel I should get paid because I have the front seat to so much birthing, to so much beauty. And it really is a great privilege for me to witness the ahas and the coming home that this work offers to people.
Yeah, I love that. I like the way you describe it, obviously. Okay, number 5, sort of you kind of answered, but let's go into a little bit more. Will working with Sandra reconnect me to my inner compass, even if I've lost track for a while?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can answer that for you. Yes, it will. Oh my word, my compass was so, and you help, you're a big part of helping me to reconnect to my inner compass. So you explain how that works.
Yeah. I don't think the problem is losing our path. I think that when we lose our path, it's usually because we have some more material to gain from. The benefit is how fast can I get back to baseline, right? How quickly can I, even if I lost my path, because sometimes we need to divert from the clear path away. Life is not a straight path forward, it's cyclical. And it's in the cyclical nature of it all that sometimes feels like I go into this void, right? It's usually the moments of transformation, of initiations of our life that we feel like I'm stepping into a brand new unknown that feel like this depth of chaos. For a lot of people, those moments expand and increase because they resist them. And so in the work that we do, we actually learn to lean into it. We learn to dance in the mystery. We learn to allow ourselves to gain from the challenge, resistance, wound, like grief, right? Oftentimes the cycles bring us grief. And when we do so, and we do so with care and in a right container where everything is allowed, we can gain the wisdom very quickly, and we know how to move forward. We know how to take action. We know how to expand clarity in our life because it is not a conceptual process. It is a process that involves all of our sensorial awareness and our humanity and our heart. And then when we use all of that information and then create doings, actions, then all of that energy releases and we can rest in the fact that, okay, now I have something that is true to me, that I know how to move forward. When we take those actions that are in alignment with our truth, rest arises. Right? It's not like, oh, I rest, I don't do anything. It's like, I rest because I'm on purpose. I'm moving with meaning. And so, yeah, that's the gift of that.
Yeah, I like that. One of the ways that I might phrase that is you help us to get permission from ourselves to go back to what originally was important in a calling or a purpose in life. And sometimes I find people who feel like that for whatever reason, they couldn't go back to that. They were not allowed to pursue that anymore, but that's part of the inner work. I love that. And it can be for a million reasons, because of something their parents did or said, or other people, or whatever situation, for people to, you hear about people who are older in life and they never got to do the thing they've always wanted to do. And it's really cool when people like you can help me find that place. Yes, you can do that. Go for it. The world's waiting on you. Go for it.
I really love hearing you say that, because going back to that is that sometimes these challenges are giving us the opportunity to look back at the original trigger that this experience might be bringing up for us. And when we look at the original trigger, it's almost like you have like a chain of pearls, right? And if you release the first pearl, then everything else kind of loses its grip. And so that's what we do when we go to that original trigger that might be very similar or might be in the repetitive feeling of the current situation. We change the history of it, even. We change the memory of it. And we gain such value from it that we we stand under the knowing, understand that this was a gift. And that when we do that, we start to see what's our hidden gift now, right? Like the maturity of that gift. And it's like, when we can own our story with pride and with like, oh gosh, I would have never been here without it. I needed that. Something changes in our self-esteem, in our worth embodiment.
Yeah, I love that. And there's a thing that I admire and like about you, Sandra, in particular, is that there's some people who struggle to have a positive outcome. Sometimes they get in to do all this work and it's like, okay, so that's where you are now. But you always, it's like you just said, I don't remember exactly how you put it, but a situation becomes my angel really became the best thing that could ever happen. And you have a great way of helping people to see the other side of tragedy or whatever it is, and bring the joy that can come out of that. And I really love that. I witnessed that about you.
Well, I feel seen. I enjoy it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, all right, let me ask you another question here. If I invest myself through this work, will Sandra help me move forward with courage and purpose, not just insight?
Sandra is going to be your cheerleader to help you move forward with your courage and with your insight.
That's a good answer.
I'm here as your partner, and know that I'm walking this path with you. I am every day embodying the message, because that's really what this work is about. It's about moving from this is what I want to I am the frequency of. And so in becoming the frequency of, you are being called. If your soul is steering for you to like attend the calling, it's not saying I'm calling you so that you can want it. It's saying I am calling you so you can live it. And that's the invitation. And the invitation is like, it's not going to be a fearless act. Courage comes when we look at fear in the face and we learn from it. And we say fear is not the opposite of love. It's usually pointing me to what I love. And when we understand that fear itself is another angel in disguise, It's showing me to what I should move towards. And if you're not feeling some sort of fear or resistance or like dense energy that to move through, then you should be putting your attention somewhere else. Like we are here in the process of conscious evolution. And evolution means that I am in a constant state of growth, development, and creation. And when you look at a seed that's growing, it has to go through the gravel, it has to grow through the soil, it has to go through all these moments in order for it to blossom and to shine, and for all the birds to start gaining from it. And that's what we do. We go through this initiation, understanding that it's not only for ourselves, it's for the good of all. That us being a frequency, the frequency of what wants to move through us, is for the good of everyone, that we become a pillar of light for everyone else. We start to model the possibility of what's true in life, which is we are a part of it all. We are here to be the messengers, the message of God embodied.
Yeah, I love that. And again, the way you can articulate that to help people to understand what's going on and what's happening. Recently I was thinking about, some of the tension that comes in transformation, and some of the pressure that you feel as as you're working through some stuff, or you have an opportunity in front of you. And for lack of a better terminology, it's like a Super Bowl football game, and, all these teams are playing, and finally two of them get to the Super Bowl, and there's all this tension. And then it dawned on me that part of it, it's actually a physics form, but it dawned on me that it's just like a bow and arrow. For an arrow to really go a long distance and hit a mark and do its job, you have to pull back and create massive tension, and then you release it and let it go. And sometimes I see that's part of what you do, is you create that tension with whatever was holding you back, or whatever false narrative you were believing. And you bring that release to help let that go, so that you can hit your mark and do your thing. Yeah. That's what I see.
What a beautiful analogy. I love it so much. I think that's the work of not only doing like quantum reprogramming work, which is what we get into doing with like the Soulset System, but it's about matching that work that we do in a hypnagogic state, in a hypnosis state, when we get into this work, with the embodiment work. And it's the marriage of both of those, that it's the intensity of allowing ourselves to have a meaningful experience that reprograms the unconscious, and at the same time to have the new frequency in action, that I am being it through my choices. And usually when we're creating new choices in our lives, we are invited and really required a lot of strong energy. It's the way that habits are created. Our unconscious is a bunch of habits, and some of those habits are no longer serving us. And when we are creating new neural pathways, new links in the way that we're thinking and we're being, for those 30 days, for that first chunk of time in the beginning, it's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of your will, a lot of your decision, a lot of courage to do it. The beauty of it is that it's only for a short amount of time in comparison to the lifelong habit that essentially becomes your identity. And so, yes, it's going to take you courage. It's going to take you energy. It's going to take determination. It's going to take your will to do these things. And it's going to be a fantastic investment, because most people think that the unconscious mind is something that we are victims of. What they're not taking into account is that the unconscious mind is the garden that you can plant seeds that you want to see grow. And you have the capacity to give yourself new ways of being. The moment that you do something for consistently using a lot of energy, all of a sudden that becomes part of your personality. You no longer have to think about it, and it becomes autopilot. And now you're no longer thinking.
That's right. That's what I call it, second nature. Whenever you have it long enough, and now your muscle memory your mental muscle memory has turned it into second nature about your attitude and what things you focus on, what things you stay away from, what narratives you quit saying to yourselves. There was a song that I heard on TV years ago when I was a kid, and it's just a little dumb jingle, and I used to, sing it to myself all the time. And one day it hit me, Scott, don't ever sing that to yourself again. That is the worst jingle, and you are building a mental history around it. And since that day, many years ago, I've never let that jingle go through my mind again. And even when I talk about it, people will come up and say, what was it? And I tell them, I'll never tell you, because I don't want to perpetuate that little jingle, because it was kind of a popular one. And I want it to die right here. Sandra, right along with you, I believe that so much is we can change who we are if we feed ourselves the right things and teach our subconscious, because subconscious is really there. Subconscious is making a lot of decisions that we're not.
95% of our decision making is our unconscious. 5%, even if you're meditating every day, is your conscious mind. So your life is based, the experience of your life is determined by all the little jingles you've got playing, right?
That's right. That's right. So, man, I've got new jingles going in my head and in my heart, and it has made a humongous difference for me. So, man, it's been great having you here today. And to those of you that are in the audience, on the Trust Credit Score, she has a 10 all the way in all 5 areas, because she has proven herself to be a genuine help, and doesn't just talk about it, but actually takes you to those places where you can deal with stuff and change the person that you are, rewrite some of those things that you thought were carved in stone. They're not carved in stone. You can rewrite those things, rewrite your future. And so thank you so much for being with us today. Yes, I can trust you.
I could trust you too.
So Sandra, tell us how people can get in touch with you, so that if you want to work with her and you want her to speak into your life, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, you can go to my website, sandratru.com, and just send me, book a call, get an intro call with me. I'm also pretty active on social media. So Sandra Tru _.
Do you have a phone number you don't mind sharing?
Sure. 646-591-7820.
Okay, great. I encourage you to get in touch with Sandra. And I know she was just a huge help, has continued to be a huge help in my life. Do you want to sit in the hot seat yourself, or use this tool to market your expertise and raise trust with your prospects? Visit trustenergizer.com and check out the Hot Seat Trust Certified Pro interview package, and you can learn how to get here and get the answers to the questions. Can I trust you? Scott Carley, your host today. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.